A teaching on divine freedom. Goddess of Liberty. December 21st, 2009. I am the Goddess of Liberty. I have come today in order to affirm the quality of freedom in your minds and hearts. Before giving this message, I was thinking about how I could more clearly convey information to the people who read these messages. I am among the masters who patronize America. I hold the focus of freedom for America and for the whole world in New York. I am also a member of the Karmic Board, and you can appeal to me personally, especially if you have any questions after my message today. I would like to talk about the quality of freedom. I cannot help telling you about this quality because it is one of the most important qualities that make a person similar to God. Each of you considers your own concept of freedom. However, there is a higher example of freedom that you should follow if you wish to follow the path that you are taught by the Ascended Masters. I must tell you with a sense of all my responsibility that there are very big distortions in this quality. Everything in your world is dual and everything is distorted. The quality of freedom is not an exception. We are talking about freedom, but many people start thinking about permissiveness, about the freedom to be engaged in whatever matters they wish at a given moment. Because their state of consciousness is imperfect, many wish to be freely engaged in the most unseemly actions, and they will be very displeased if they are prohibited from doing so. That is why I come, in order to clarify the quality of freedom for you. And the closer this quality is to the divine manifestation, the higher will be the examples of freedom that you can obtain for comprehending and following in your lives. The highest understanding of liberty for you to apprehend is the liberation from the bondage of material things, although I do not know how much this will be apprehensible for the majority of those who are reading this message of mine. If one plunges into the depths of ages and remembers the very ancient history of humankind, then humanity was not yet lost in materialism. Humankind existed in more subtle planes of being. It was many millions of years ago. Each of you reading this message of mine lived in those times. That was the time when humankind of Earth was in its infancy. In the infancy stage of existence, humanity was innocent. It possessed abilities in teleportation and materialization, and it remained constantly in a state of bliss and unity with the Creator. But one element was lacking that could enable humanity to evolve and be conscious creators. Humankind did not possess reason. You know a little bit about what happened next based on its reflection in many myths, legends, and teachings of the world. Humankind was endowed with reason due to a voluntary sacrifice of the great spirits, the holy Comoras. Having this mighty tool at its disposal, humanity began to use it. And since humankind, from its inception, possessed free will, it had an opportunity to use this gift according to its own free will. When reason was used in accordance with the will of the Creator, human individuals added iridescent coatings to their causal bodies. But when reason was used to satisfy the whims of ego, the divine energy settled and condensed space. Many millions of years passed before the world became as solid as it seems to you now. Both the gift of reason and the gift of free will, after having been misused by humanity during many millions of years, have in fact created a dungeon for the soul because the dense world you created was fettering your inherent freedom more and more. Now you are amidst the dense world and tied to it with many bonds. These are the karmic connections that you have created, your attachments to this world, to the amusements and things of this world. I have come today in order to engender the desire for divine freedom in your souls as liberation from the bondage of the matter. The time has come for you to realize the simple things that the ascended masters teach you. Your consciousness must be liberated first. You have to learn to feel a sense of divine freedom in your consciousness as non-attachment to the material world. Look, what is holding you in your world? Analyze all of your attachments. Are they important to you now? Are you trying to follow the inert consciousness of the majority of humanity? Humankind, each human individual, is situated at his or her own stage of evolutionary development. But there must be a certain number of individuals who are able to respond to my words and to awaken in their consciousness to divine freedom as the freedom from the bondage of materialism, as the liberty from any attachments to matter. I am not saying anything that has not been studied at schools for the initiated. One of the main subjects taught at these schools is the freedom from attachments to the matter in general, and in particular, from the attachment to any property and things. I understand very well that at present the whole world is based on laws that were written by people who are called upon to protect the rights of ownership. Doesn't it seem strange to you that so many institutions, courts, and state and private entities direct their efforts to confirm someone's ownership of something? From my point of view and from the viewpoint of the ascended masters, this is absolutely absurd behavior. How can one possess that which already had an owner since the moment of the beginning of this creation? Everything belongs to God, and everything is God. Now you can imagine the abyss that separates the consciousness of the ascended host and the consciousness of the majority of human individuals. And now you may see what you have to work on. How can you untie the Gordian knot of your attachments without unnecessary shocks and, perhaps, even victims? How can you carefully untangle one karmic connection after another without doing harm to life? This is one of the tasks that the Ascended Masters and, in particular, the Karmic Board are working on. Yes, we can take a sword and cut the Gordian knot of the karma of humankind in a matter of seconds. But how many souls will be extinguished with it? Therefore, we come and every time we appeal to those who are able to hear us. I understand very well that you can fly into space, make state-of-the-art technology, and change the flow of rivers, and this is much easier than changing your consciousness in order to ascend to the next level of evolution. I have been with you today, and now the time has come for me to leave. I am the goddess of liberty.